Hey guys, Faisal here from Face and Codes. Today we're going to be taking a look at ESXi 6.7 download. We're going to be downloading and configuring the ESXi. I'm going to show you how to set it up. But before we continue, what is ESXi? ESXi is a Type 1 hypervisor that's usually on bare metal, such as servers, which allows the configuration and deployment. Well, the deployment first and then configuration of virtual machines. And so Type 1 hypervisors are usually less memory hungry and CPU hungry because they don't have a graphical interface. So I'll show you guys a Type 2 hypervisor. This is a Type 2 hypervisor, VMware Workstation. VirtualBox from Oracle, that's a Type 2 hypervisor. VMware Workstation Player, which is the free version of VMware, is a Type 2 hypervisor. So you can see that the Type 2 hypervisor needs to be on a graphical interface, such as a desktop, right? So the desktop as it is heavy. Um, when I start up my Windows machine, 6 GB of RAM is already consumed by the Windows operating system, right? So we're going to be getting a Type 1 hypervisor where it doesn't require that much RAM or CPU, but we'll configure it to our liking. And so we'll give it enough space, enough RAM, um, in which we can um, deploy virtual machines. All right. So let's close out of that. Let's close out of that. Let's go to the browser. So what you want to do is search for ESXi 6.7, or you can get the 7 version, or the 8 I believe is the latest. But for this tutorial's sake, I'm going to be going with 6.7. Also, I'll be leaving the links in the description so it'll be easier for you guys to follow along. Just a side note, you will need to sign up for VMware before downloading. Um, so I recommend you guys sign up and then follow along. So you guys can actually, um, so I'll show you. It'll prompt you with the sign in login screen. So we're going to be going with the ESXi 6.7, right? Hypervisor. Go to downloads. Um, I think these are the latest ones, right? The OU3B, OU3. I'm not too sure what that actually means. So we're just going to go with 6.7. We're going to be going with the first one because it includes the VMware tools. And we're going to be needing those VMware tools when we're configuring the virtual machines. It's going to be very helpful. So click on download now, and it's not too big, 330 MB. It should be pretty quick. I'm going to minimize this. We don't need that. So as you can see, you need to sign up because you're going to need to log in to get the ESXi ISO. All right, so once you have that downloaded and you've signed up, and then downloaded it. All right, we're going to close out of here. I'll minimize this for now. And so I'm going to go create a new virtual machine, right? Because I already have it installed. And I'll open up VMware Workstation Player. And I'll show you that process as well because it's just a tad bit different from the Pro version and the free version, which is the player. So in the player, we're going to go create a new virtual machine and we're going to browse for the ISO. So this is the one, and we're going to click next. We're going to give it a name, right? And then next. Oh, that name has already been taken. Oh, the path. Okay, the path already exists. We'll go with 6. actually. We'll go browse. All right. So it seems like I already had two of the VMware with the ESXi and 6.7. Um, but essentially, you're going to be picking a name, and I'm sure you guys won't have a virtual machine already configured. So click next, allocate the space, right, and then continue from there. All right. So I'm going to close the player, and I'm going to continue with the Pro version. I'm going to go next on the custom hardware compatibility. We're going to pick 6.7. Click next. This is where we're going to browse for the ISO. Click next. Give it a name, ESXi. Yep. All right. Number of process. We're going to be going with 4 and 2 cores per process. You guys can allocate less than this or more than this, but for this tutorial, I'm going to be going with this because we're going to be also configuring virtual machines on this. So click next. For the RAM, I'll give it 8 GB. I know 8 GB is quite a bit, but again, um, I'm going to be configuring virtual machines, so I think that's adequate. Click next. And for the network type, we'll go with NAT. But once it's already, once it's up and running, we can configure it to bridged mode if we choose. Click next. Yep, we're going with the recommended controller type. Select disk type. We'll go with the recommended. All right, create a new virtual disk. I'm going to allocate, let's say, 125 GB. I have enough storage on my drive, and we're going to need this much when we're configuring the servers. But for you, you can definitely put 40 GB minimum size. Store virtual disk as a single file. Click next. Click next. And click finish. And so now ESXi is going to go through its installer and configure it. And once that's done, we'll go from there. All right. So press enter to continue. F11 to accept and continue. We're going to pick our storage device. Press enter. We'll go with the US default. We'll give it a password. All right. And solar is configured. We'll click F11 to install. And I believe this should take a few minutes. So when this is done, we'll proceed from there. All right, that's been completed. So fortunately for us, that didn't take a couple of minutes, but instead a couple of seconds. And so we're going to go press enter to reboot. All right, so the ESXi is configured. And now if you open up a web browser, move this to the side. And so if I type in the IP 192.168.244.168, will be prompted on this page, right? And so what we're going to do is click Advanced, proceed to the IP, and now this is the graphical user interface for the VMware ESXi. This is referred to as the ESXi host. So we're going to go to root, and we're going to put in our password, and we'll get a prompt, right? Click OK. We'll help them out. And so yeah, this is how it looks. Right now we don't have any virtual machines configured, and we'll be configuring that in a later video. But I do want to show you guys, right now we are on DHCP, right? Dynamic Host Control Protocol. And so it's giving us a random generated IP. Now let's say we want to set it to a static IP, right? Because we don't want the IP to continuously changing. If we have our virtual machines on our ESXi host, we don't want that IP to change. We want it to be static, so there shouldn't be any conflict with the host or the virtual machines. So first, we're going to open up our command line. Let's just see what's our IP, right? IP config. So I'm on the 192.168.50.49 network. And so what we're going to do, we're going to click F2 when we're inside of the ESXi hypervisor, put in our password, right? F2 again, and we'll go down to configure management network, and we'll go to IPv4. But before I go to IPv4, let me confirm that I have a network adapter that supports the bridged. So no, I don't right now. I have a network adapter that is using NAT. So what I'm going to do, if you want it to be bridged to your network, you're going to want to add a network adapter, and we're going to bridge this network adapter. I know I could have done that for the first network adapter, but I just want to have two network adapters. So click OK. Right, it'll reload. All right, so now if we go to the IPv4 configuration, we're going to go, actually before we go to the IPv configuration, I just press escape to cancel out of that prompt. We're going to go to network adapters. That's strange, it's not showing up. Okay, I think we need to go back. We need to exit out of here, click escape, and we're going to press the F12 to reboot. Yeah, let's reboot. And then we'll do F11 to restart. Yeah. So this way, the network adapter should be picked up, and we should be able to configure it to that bridged network adapter. Let me make this a little bigger. Feel free to fast forward um, to when it loads. All right, there it is. All right, F2 to go into the configuration, right? Put in our password, and F2, yeah, there you go. So we're going to go configure management network, network adapters, and there you go. We have our secondary network adapter. And so I'm going to press, I'm going to go down to our bridged network adapter, and I'm going to press spacebar on it, right? And I'm going to remove the NAT network adapter. Press spacebar on that. And so now you can see the X is on the bridged network adapter. We'll click enter, right? So now we're using the bridge network adapter. We'll go to IPv4 configuration, and right now it's set to dynamic. So we'll go to set static, and we'll press spacebar on that. We'll go down, right? And we'll remove this IP, right? 192.168. So let me just confirm if the 50 octet is taken. So the 50.50. Okay, so we're good. So that's not taken right now. So what I'll do is I'll continuously keep a ping on this, and we'll configure this. We'll configure this 50.50. And subnet mask is good. And this should be 192.168.50.2, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. All right. So that's our default gateway. Press enter. IPv6, we don't really need that. We can honestly, we can even disable the IPv6. But for now, I'll keep it enabled. Sure, why not? DNS servers, that's been configured. Hostname, we'll keep it as obtain. Custom DNS suffix, we'll leave this as default as well. But in the future video, we'll be configuring this when we set up our Windows server, and we'll have Active Directory user that can access the ESXi host. But that's for another video. Anyways, now we're going to go press escape, press Y to apply changes, and as you guys can see, as soon as I apply the changes, we get a reply from the .50 octet. So now that means that the IP has been configured in the bridged mode um, to the .50 octet, the last octet. And so now we're no longer on the NAT address. So this, if I reload this shouldn't work, right? So now if I open up a new browser, put that to the side. If I put 192.168.50.50, now it should load because now we're on the bridge network. So we'll go advance, proceed, right? Root, log in. There you go. So now we configured it to the bridged. So now we're on our home network and we can access virtual machines when we do configure the virtual machines from a home network. The other network was the NAT, so we could have still done it from the home, but it's just not all the devices on that network would be able to access it because they're not on that network, right? All right, so that's me showing you how to configure the ESXi, how to put a static IP, right, on a bridged mode. And in future videos, I'll explain to you guys and show you guys how to add virtual machines. So if you guys found this video helpful, give it a like. If you guys have any questions, comment below. I'll see you guys in the next one.